First thing we need to know is that there are two formulas that we dealt with at the very beginning of the year. Those two formulas were for speed and for velocity. So speed and velocity were the first two topics we discussed. We said that speed was v is equal to d over t, and velocity is also equal to d over t. All right, those two things seem to be the same. However, the d for speed is distance, and the d in velocity is for displacement. So if you'll make sure to remember that in case it comes up. Remember that in the situation where it's in the same problem and it asks you to find the velocity and the speed, a lot of times it will be different because the speed will be based on the distance it traveled, the velocity will be based on the displacement that it went. So the speed has just like 5 meters per second. The velocity has to have a direction. Okay? So it has to have a direction. We'll just abbreviate it. So we have that. We also should remember, this always confuses people, and that is magnitude and direction. So frequently you would see something like, velocity has a, give me the magnitude and direction of velocity, or just the magnitude of the velocity. If you have the magnitude is just the number that's associated with it. So for instance, for velocity, this could be anything, but for velocity it would be 5 meters per second at 50 degrees, or something like that. This 5 meters per second is the magnitude. The 50 degrees is the direction. 5 newtons, that's a magnitude. 5 meters per second squared, that's a magnitude. 5 Kuzmas, that's a magnitude, okay? Like 5 joules, that's a magnitude. So anything that's just the number is the magnitude. The angle, or right, left, something like that, that's the direction. Does that make sense? Graphs are also going to be important. So for instance, velocity versus time graphs, we often did time and distance, or sorry, distance and time, distance on the y, time on the x, and it would look something like this for a velocity graph, something that's not accelerating. And the slope of this line would be equal to the velocity. The slope would be the velocity on that graph. Does that make sense? Anybody got any questions about that? Okay. Greg, pause it. Just start. Like, make a new video.